In Act 2, Scene 2 of Raisin in the Sun, it's Friday night. A few weeks later, the apartment is full of packing crates. Beneatha and George come in from a date. Beneatha wants to talk. George wants to grope and kiss with a nice, simple girl, not a poet. Beneatha later tells Mama he's a fool. Mama tells her not to waste her time with him. Mrs. Johnson, the younger's neighbor, stops by. An overfamiliar, talkative woman, Mrs. Johnson gets into the younger's business. She tells a news story about a black family bombed out their place, talks melodramatically about the violence of whites in Chicago, and imagines that the youngers will make the papers this time next month. Ruth gets a phone call from Walter's employer and learns that Walter hasn't been to work in 3 days. He may lose his job. Feeling responsible for her son's behavior, Mama gives Walter control over the remaining $6,500 of the settlement check. She tells him to put aside $3,000 for Beneatha's education and to decide about the rest. I'm telling you to be the head of this family from now on, like you're supposed to be. A joyful, bewildered Walter talks to Travis, asking what he wants to be when he grows up. When Travis says he wants to be a bus driver, Walter tells him to dream bigger. Walter tells his son about a business transaction that's going to change our lives. He says he'll work in an office, and he imagines his future wealth. He says Travis will go to a great college and become whatever he wants to be. Mama, again, is the prime agent of this scene, highlighting the gender dynamics that juxtapose these two very different heads of family. Cut from the play's original production, the scene with Mrs. Johnson shows a complex reaction to the younger's move. She's envious, scared, and derisive all at once. Outwardly, she says their decision to move on up to better housing is wonderful, just not something she'd ever do. But her disdain for proud, colored folks who, like the youngers, test social norms like segregated housing, aligns her with Booker T. Washington, a way of thinking Beneatha pairs with the KKK as the two things the black community must overcome. When Mama learns that Walter's been neglecting his service job, she doesn't berate him. She knows that her son wasn't meant to wait on nobody. She realizes the most important gift she can give her son isn't money, but authority and agency. Giving Walter a way out of his service job is also the best way she can honor Big Walter, who never found a way out himself. Walter may be aware of the risk of his investment. He's certainly wary of Mama's trust, which seems to him sudden and undeserved. But his dreams take over. He imagines himself a downtown executive with an office, secretaries, cars for him and Ruth, and a gardener. And he imagines passing along such success to his son, Travis.